I'm Josh Van Harn. I'm a solutions engineer at RapDev. ITSM in most organizations focuses on users calling in the service desk, raising a ticket, someone working on it, or going into self-service, raising a ticket, getting it out to teams, and then getting the work back. Starts with the user interacts with the system, and then gets data back, and then something happens. Whereas with proactive, the goal is to take away the need for users to start the interaction and become part of it, if at all, in the thing that needs to be done. Right? Either we have an issue and solve it automatically, right, before it becomes a thing that as a user I know about, or if I need to request something, why isn't it already there? Right? So that focus on using ITSM with automation and understanding of the organization to already solve for problems or solve for requests that users maybe in the future would have raised. The core of what we do at RapDev has to do with automation. Automation enables scaling without friction, right? So the only way to get better and faster at something is automating. Automation is key. With ITSM, when you build your practice, you move away from traditional process focus, which says, right, we do these steps in this order, and that's how it works, and start redefining it in a way that you still meet the requirements of the process, but it's not based on that initial trigger. So automate it from day one, throughout everything you do, assuming that you're not going to talk to a user first, but the user is part of somewhere in the conversation, they are going to pop up. So you need to plan for technology to support that interaction. To get to proactive ITSM, there's a few major areas. So obviously ensuring that you understand what's happening in the organization, use observability, monitoring, get the data flowing into ServiceNow so you actually know what's happening. Like log analytics, understanding if a user's trying to log into a system, I'm going to have a log file that says it's failing, right? So if I know it's failing, I can grab that and say, do I know this user? Do I know what they're trying to do? And if so, why don't I just ping them and say, hey, I see this is failing, let me reset it, or confirm that you want it reset. So monitoring is one. And the second part of that, kind of touched on that, is using things like chat ops to interact with that user, to get attention to them. You can use outbound calls, obviously. It's the same principle, but using chat makes it asynchronous. It's available when the user has time to respond, and it allows you to offload or shift left, right, some of the decision making that needs to happen, like questions or details you want from a user to solve something. You go out through chat ops, you get the user select it, pick the right things that are relevant to them, and then use that data to process again. So another consideration for proactive ITSM is looking at what you can do to make the change process easier and faster, right? Typically within ITSM, we're talking days, sometimes weeks to get things through. Whereas with certain technologies, in-house application development, DevOps practices, that need should be replaced with automation, right? And again, automation is a key factor. You take what's being done in application development, you run it through a normalized process where you understand the risk associated to that deployment. Then you automatically raise the change, you do the risk analysis, and then you decide whether or not you follow a regular traditional CAP type process, or you just automatically approve and push it out. And that LAD or that capability is supported already with the DevOps module. And we can then use that again to also understand changes happening in the organization in real time or to the infrastructure in real time, and use that to decide or to assess whether or not there's potential impact for users. So it's another data stream. You should automate your change, but it's also a data stream understanding what happens in your application landscape and your deployments to production to use that to assess impact on users. I'd say automate everything, period. Like automation is the solution for scaling everything. But automation allows for step outs to interact with people, like either through chat ops, through tasks being sent out, through approval processes. There's different ways where an automated process is going to pop out, interact with a person, and then continue, right, where needed. It could be for approvals, it could be for more details as part of an onboarding process, right, for service request. So you can use it, but it has to be proactive. It has the system ServiceNow reaching out to users saying, hey, I see this happening, what do you want to do? Or, hey, I see this happening, approve that this is okay to do. Or I see this is happening, what choices do I have to do this? Or in best case, I saw this happening, I fixed it for you. Here's the information if you're interested, and please continue working. Because ultimately the goal of all of this is to have either customers or internal end users being able to do their work every day without interruption.